Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. On the last video we checked out on the brief overview on what we are going to be covering for the next couple of videos, and in this video we'll check out the M-Pesa developer portal, and this is the online website made by Safaricom that enables us to access various documentation and processes of how to do these transactions. So some of the things that I forgot to mention up in the previous video is that what does it take to really go through all these tutorial series. So for this series you'll just need to have basic programming skills. It can be whether you know Python or whether you know PHP or Java, as long as you understand how to formulate basic functions or even object-oriented programming, it's welcome, and majority of the things anyway we'll be learning. And I will also drop a link in the description below if you would like to start off with some basic Python programming, and there's some basic tutorials that can get you up to scratch if you want to learn Python. You also of course need a computer, and for this tutorial either a Mac, Linux or Windows will do. There's no really a preference. Of course you'll need internet connection, and as well as to have your phone number with an M-Pesa line which is registered for M-Pesa. Of course the major thing for this course is that you require a lot of interest, and it's mainly the main thing that we require. So now what this short video will concentrate on is we are going to sign up on the Daraja API online, where we are going to get our credentials so that we can set up the project. So for this we'll quickly head on Google and go and search Daraja API, and it's supposed to open up at developer.safaricom.co.ke. so we'll click on that one, and we need to sign up. So if you don't have an account yet, you come here to log in, and if you don't have an account you're supposed to sign up. So because I already go ahead and sign up, and because myself I already have an account, I'll come on and log in. So after logging in, we need to do a couple of things before we can make a transaction. So the entire goal of this tutorial is that we are going to initiate a transaction from the browser to your phone, and I'm going to show you. It's really cool. And we are going, so the first thing we need for Daraja API is to, on the right corner, is to add a new app. And I already, so we go through the process where if you click add a new app, it will ask you the app name. So for this one you can give anything you want. So for example I can go and say test. So here you enter your app name. For me I'm just going to enter test, but it needs to be a name that defines your project. So if you are doing a project that is called e-commerce, maybe you can put e-commerce. So if you have a custom company name, you can put your company name, doesn't matter. And here we need to select both Lipa Na Mpesa and M-Pesa Sandbox. And so here one of the things that you need to realize is that M-Pesa, here they've written for M-Pesa Sandbox B2B, B2C and C2B, but this is only for the sandbox. Whenever you go live, and this is quite important to know, that you can only go live with either a B2C and a B2B, but you cannot go live with all the three of them. So usually you cannot have an account which is a B2C and also a C2B, and we are going to talk more on that one. So when you go live you will have to select one of them, so make sure you select the two, and I'm going to click here create app. So when you create app, it comes under new, and here we have test. So, and I'm going, when you click on test, you are going to find a few things. You are going to find something that is called a consumer key, and you're also going to find something called the consumer secret. If you click on products, you'll see that the Lipa Na Mpesa Sandbox has been approved, as well as the M-Pesa Sandbox. So to get started, you can click on get started, and here it will tell you to sign up to the portal, which you've already done. And it say here creating your test app, adding a new app, which you've already done. And to view your app details is where we are looking at consumer keys, which we've done. So I will go straight to the APIs. I'll click on the APIs, and with the APIs you will find the various APIs that we'll be using throughout the course, whether it's reversal, whether it's B2B, B2C, C2B. But for this specific example, we'll go to M-Pesa Express, and this is where the Lipa Na Mpesa online transaction usually happens, and we are going to click on the second one, which is written M-Pesa Express request. So what this M-Pesa Express request does basically, so this initiates an online payment on behalf of the customer. So it says here that there's the request parameters, that for us to initiate a payment we need a business shortcode, and this is the organizational shortcode of who you are paying. We need a password, and we'll see how we create a password. We need a timestamp. This is the current date, year, date, month, hour, minute and second that the transaction is made. We need a transaction type, and we need either to specify where it's a pay bill or a customer buy goods. As you know, Lipa Na Mpesa, it usually has either a pay bill or till number. So customer buy goods online, there's a till number or a pay bill. We also need to specify the amount that this person is supposed to pay. And part A here is the phone number of the individual who is going to do the payment. Part B is the short code, again, of the organization, is the same with the business short code of the company that you are going to pay. So for example, like so if this was like a Kenya Power pay bill, part B basically will be 888880 for prepaid tokens. The phone number, again, this is the mobile number that we receive the prompt. Again, for this example it will be the same as party A. And we need a callback URL, and this is where M-Pesa servers will send us details of the transaction, of the reference number, the amount, the person who paid at what time, and such information. We also need an account reference. So if you are using customer pay bill, remember when you go to your phone you usually have a pay bill number and account number. So account reference is actually the account number of that pay bill that you want to pay. So for example, if you are paying, again using the example of Kenya Power, the party B, which is the pay bill, is 88880, and account number, they usually tell you to put your meter number, which is, you know, the meter number that you have in your house. And the transaction description is just a small sentence describing what the transaction is. So it can be like pay tokens or pay school fees. Don't worry too much about response parameters. This is the response that we are going to get from Safaricom, and we are going to break it down. The important thing to know here is the response code, whether we'll get a 0 or a 404. Basically, all of the time, it's good that we get a response code of 0. And again, we are going to look at that. So again, don't worry too much about the response parameters. This is the information that will be sent to the callback URL, which we don't have as of now. So without further ado, and without boring you with all the details, let's go straight. If you scroll down, you will find here there's something called a request body where we can do a transaction. So for this, to do a transaction, it asks us to put a business shortcode, which we don't have now, a password, which we don't have, a timestamp, which we don't have. Transaction type is customer pay bill online. Remember, if you go up, transaction can either be customer pay bill or customer buy goods. So for our case, it's selected customer pay bill. Amount, this one we can guess. Maybe I want to pay 5 shillings, for example. Party A, if we go up, it says it's the phone number sending money, and it has to be in the format of 254. In this exact format, not +254 and not 07 something something. So for this one, I'm going to put in my phone number, which is and party B, we don't know the pay bill that we are sending to. I'll show you where I'll get the information. Again, phone number, we are going to repeat the party A. Callback URL, because we don't have, we can just guess for now. So we can say something like Fullstack django.com. I hope that is, sorry, .com / Lipa Na. So I hope there's no site called Fullstack Django, and again this is a URL that doesn't exist. So if you remember, yesterday we talked about Django and Django-rest-framework, so we'll be creating these URLs so that we can receive this information that will be sent. Right now, because we've just guessed, we won't get this confirmation message. So account reference is the account pay bill, it's the account number. So for now we leave it blank. And the transaction description, so let's assume an example where we are making an application that enables a school to receive school fees from students. So the transaction description for here can be maybe pay school fees. It can be anything literally. So to get this information that we don't have, you click on this button here written get test credentials. It will open up a new tab. And if you open up the test credentials, you'll find you have a shortcode 1, an initiator name. Again, don't worry about all these. I'll show you where they fit. You have a security credential, shortcode 2, test MSI SDN, which is the test phone number. Don't worry too much about that. We have an expiry date of these credentials. We have a Lipa Na Mpesa online shortcode, which is that one, and Lipa Na Mpesa online passkey, which is this passkey over here. So if we go back here, we realize we've been asked a business shortcode. So if you come here, we have shortcode 1 and we have shortcode 2 and Lipa Na Mpesa online shortcode. So because we want to use Lipa Na Mpesa online, always this is what we are going to use. So I'm going to copy that and paste it back here. And this is similar to party B. You realize here they've said account reference. We can let's assume if you are paying school fees, we'll enter in the admission number of the student. So let's say the admission number of the student is 1122345, just as an example. So there are two things remaining for us to make the transaction. We need a password and we need a timestamp. So how do we generate those? So a timestamp is literally a string of characters that represent the current time, date and time, and this is the format. So you first have the year. Right now is 2019, it's February. I'm recording this on the 17th and it's around 1:38 p.m. and the most important thing to note is that we use the 24 hours notation, so it's going to be 1328. We also need a base64 password. So the password that they've requested, if we go back to the documentation, they say that the password that is used for encrypting the request must be a base64 encoded string. So I won't go too much into what a base64 encoded string is, but I'm going to leave a link in the description below of a small YouTube video that you can watch so that you can understand what is base64 encryption. But for purposes of this tutorial, I'll show you an easy online way of how we can generate the password. So the base64 password is a combination of the shortcode that we've just seen, the Lipa Na Mpesa shortcode, plus a passkey, which is also in the credentials page, as well as the timestamp. So so here you find that our business pay Lipa Na Mpesa shortcode is 60143, and we have the I've guessed the Lipa Na Mpesa passkey. I don't want to write the actual one this tutorial, and also I have the timestamp that we've just generated. So basically you need to write them and combine them into one string and copy that string. So just as an example, so how do we base64 encode? You can just come here and Google base64 encode, and literally you can open up the first website that opens. There's a lot of sites that help us to encode and decode base64 strings. So I'm just going to come here and we need to paste in the format. So again, remember we've said that we need to paste in the short code. Then we need to paste in the online passkey, which is here. Then the third thing we need is the timestamp, and the timestamp now we need to write the timestamp. So I'm just going to write the current time right now is 20, we are in 2019. It's February, which is 02. It's the 17th, and right now is 15:15 p.m. so that's 17:15 and 00 seconds, which is okay. And I'm going to copy this and bring it here. Destination character set is UTF-8, and of course I'm on Windows, so I'm going to use that one. And this one will give me this and this result here, and now this one is what is the password. So I'm going, I interchange this one, so I'm just going to paste in there. Sorry for that, and this is supposed to go into the timestamp. Sorry, I'm going to take this, and this is the password. Now we are set to go. We've put the business shortcode. Again, we're using the test credentials that we've been given. If this was live, this will be now the business shortcode of your business that you are running. So then we click on send this request, so that we can send this request to Safaricom, but we get an error here which is saying invalid access token. Now there's one more thing that I never told you about, and this is about access tokens. Again, the Safaricom Daraja API is very strict in the way it authenticates people. So if you come up here, you find there's something called header parameters, and this is something that we are going to dive very deeply when we go to talk about APIs. And here, remember, we are taking this information and we are sending it over to this URL, which is the Safaricom URL. But for us to send this information over to Safaricom URL, we need to authenticate ourselves. And the way this is done is by header parameters, and we need to send an access token that we need to generate. And here it says we have an Auth 2.0 verification where we need a bearer and an access token. So how do we generate an access token? So the way we do it is that you come here, I'll click on APIs, and I'm going to open this as a new tab. Again, bear with me, we're almost done. This is the last thing. And on this, remember we went to M-Pesa Express and this, but here down we have the OAuth API, and when I click, you see there's generate token API, and we are going to click on this. When we click on this, we get a similar window. So it says we need to send some information to this URL so that it can generate the access token for us. So I'm going to click on set, and this one is going to ask you for your consumer key and your consumer secret. And remember, where did we see those? Is coming back and going to my apps. Again, we are still navigating through the site, and we come to tests, and here we had the consumer key and the consumer secret. So I'm just going to copy the consumer key and paste it here, and I'm going to take the consumer secret and I'm going to paste it in the consumer secret, and I'm going to click remember my credential for 30 days. Remember, the access token, the credentials in Safaricom usually change sometimes every hour for the access token. So after generating that, I'll do send this request using the values above. After clicking, we get an access token that you see expires in that time. So I'm going to copy this access token, come back here, and remember you need to replace the access token, this part, together with the brackets. and paste in the access token, and you must make sure there is a single space between bearer and the access token. So confirm that's done. We are now set, and we are sending this content as application.json, and this is a JSON format. Again, we are going to talk about more of that when we start the actual programming. So after filling all the information, I'm going to record my phone right now, and we are ready to initiate the request. So I'm just going to click on send this request. It's saying working. If you go down here, you're supposed to get a success, request accepted processing. And if you can see on the screen, it's asking me, do you want to pay Kenya shillings 5, which is what we've put here, for account number Safaricom test 12. So the reason is this is the name which is associated with this shortcode. Remember, we are on the Safaricom test site because we are on Sandbox. But if you were live and you had put your own shortcode that it gave you, it would have given you, it would have shown you the actual name for the app. So in this case, going back to the apps that we've made, it could have actually written, do you want to pay Kenya shillings 5 to test, or whatever your company is, or the name that you've put, for account number. So this account number is the same account number that we've put here. So enter M-Pesa pin. So I'm going to hide my screen as I put my pin, and I click OK. And now what will happen is that the transaction will go to M-Pesa, and they are going to return the response through this, but we should get a confirmation SMS about the transactions, and also make sure that of course you have the money for the transaction. But the good thing with M-Pesa is that every midnight, every money that you've sent to their test M-Pesa, this pay bill number, they usually return your money at night. And so yes, so we've just made our first transaction through the website. Again, this is a very tedious way, and going forward we'll now be diving deep into now programming on how we can make this process quite easy. You should also be receiving a confirmation SMS from that. I'm not going to show that on screen, but it should you should receive an SMS confirming that you've actually sent money to this pay bill number and to this account number for that amount. And going forward, we should make this process very easy by using Python as the programming language that is going to help us now organize all this information and make payments quite easily. I look forward to seeing you in the next one.